Hey everyone, it's Celeste and welcome to my BookTube channel. So I wanted to film the next row on my Book Bitch Literary Society summer bingo. So I'm almost done. So this is row 4 and it is, you know, I'm kind of in the process. Like I mentioned in one of my previous videos that I was trying to get through these TBR videos so that before I said, well, I've already read this book for this square. So here I am. I'm not made up. I'm just trying to do this really, you know, swiftly and productively. So here we go. So on my 4th row, and I'm looking at my handy dandy phone to look at my 4th row. So my 4th row includes a non-American author, a book that won an award, short stories, a book that is part of a series, trilogy, duology, something, and then a book that has an occupation that you have either had, that you have, or that you want to have. So yes, these are kind of vague, but we did that on purpose. I think I talked about it in some of the other videos, so that we're able to kind of work through these TBR stacks that we have. Like, or at least that's my goal. I think that's what the goal is for most of my other book bitches. So, the first one that I have is for a non-American author. And I'm actually in this book. I've read about maybe 2/3 of it. And so I'm showing you the book jacket because the actual book is on my nightstand right now. But it is Queen of the Tiles by Hannah Alkaf. This author lives in Kuala Lumpur, and so that's, you know, a non-American. This book is a YA book. It's like a mystery, like whodunit. It's really giving me like the sort of like vibes of like everybody is suspicious for different reasons. But basically what it is, and I think you can kind of see in the picture, it's about these teenagers who are going to Scrabble tournaments. So that's really cool. This is also one of the books that I got in an Unplugged book box a while back. And so I think it's really awesome. It does have some like red shades on the cover, so I could probably use it for red on the cover if that was the case, but I don't think I'm gonna have a problem with that square. It also is about these teenagers, so I think you can make an argument for coming of age. So maybe, I don't know, but this is the book that I'm using for non-American author. I try to read widely, and so I think that I'll have, or I might have already talked about some books that could also cover for this square, but that's what's going on for that one. Okay, so the next one that I don't have the physical copy because I'm listening to it on audiobook, but I think I've talked about a few other books that are award winners, but I'm listening to, I had this like in my audiobook stack, so I'll have to insert, you know, an image, but it is The Roundhouse by Louise Erdrich. Can't talk tonight. It won the National Book Award for 2012. Might have to fact check myself on that, but I'm pretty sure it's a National Book Award winner, and I think the year was 2012. It is another coming of age story. It is about an indigenous boy. I think they're in South Dakota. A traumatic incident happened with his mother. He's 13, and the book is following how he's trying to come to some sort of like, I wouldn't say closure, but he's trying to process the trauma that he knows that his mother's been through. It's really excellent. I am more than halfway done with it. I'm not quite finished with it. There were a couple of days this week that I did not listen to it in the car because my brain was just, it was the last week of school, and so yeah, it's a lot of oatmeal right here. So that is the book, and like I mentioned, there's other books that I've either shown in my TBRs or that I have on my stacks to talk about for that last row. But yeah, it's an award winner. I'm pleasantly surprised because it seems like I've read quite a few, and I have some others on my TBR shelves that I could fit in there, but I'm probably going to finish that soon, so that is one of my audiobook ones that I've had sort of in the backlog of audiobooks. I think I bought it when it was like on sale one day. I don't know, but that's one that I'm using for that square. So the next square is short stories. And for this is a book that I got as a gift. So I think it could be used as like a book that's recommended by a non-book because it's been given to me as a gift, and I feel like that's kind of a recommendation if someone gives it to you as a gift. But the short stories that I've chosen is Gleanings by Neal Shusterman. This is a set of stories that are set and centered around the world of Scythe. So if you read Arc of the Scythe, that trilogy, if you haven't read it, I highly recommend it. So I wouldn't read this set of short stories until having read that, which I have, and I enjoyed the heck out of it. So basically the premise of that world is society has advanced to a point where you don't just die. Like, it's technology, medical technology and such has made it to where, like, unless it's like an act of God or something, you aren't going to die. Well, the problem with that is the world needs like some form of population control, right? Because if nobody's dying and people are still being born, then that could be a problem for the world. And so they have these scythes who are these venerated select group of individuals who are throughout the world, and they choose people. And so it gets very hairy, scary, and interesting because they are supposed to live certain lives, they're supposed to abide by certain rules, and you know, people are fallible. So it's sort of like this utopia, dystopia situation. Very well written, very good, very thought-provoking. It's YA. So, you know, but yes, and also, I love this cover. So anyway, I'm looking forward to get to this because, yes, normally I'm not a short story reader. Like, I really more prefer, like, an entire novel. So, yeah, like, I'm glad I had this square on my card because the cards are different. So I might not have had this square on my card, but I'm glad that I do because I really want to get to this. Not just because it was a gift, but also because I'm interested in reading more from that world. I really love that. Okay, so that takes care of that square. That was my short story square. The next one is part of a series, trilogy, duology, and I think a lot of booktubers, a lot of readers can feel me on this one. I have a problem as far as like reading parts of a series or whatever and not continuing with them in an expedient nature. So there are a lot of books on my shelves that I could have picked to fill this square, but I was also kind of looking at my shelves and thinking about it and looking in the app. I haven't really been reading a lot of my Book of the Month books in the last like 2 months or so, so I feel a little about that because I like to kind of keep up with those a little bit because a lot of times they're, you know, new releases or anticipated books. And so for this square, what I picked, what I think I'm going to read is A Rogue of One's Own by Evie Dunmore. And this is one of my Book of the Month books, which is partly why I picked it. This is number 2 in the League of Extraordinary Women series. I think they're more like companion series. But it follows like a group of women, like friends, and they are living in a time where they're like in England, and they're kind of going through, like, it's been a while since I've read the first book, but this takes place, it centers around another one of the characters that was a secondary character in the first book. And I know that there's another book after this, but I don't even know if I've gotten it yet. But I was kind of holding off on this one, but it's a romance. And also there's steaminess in it. So I felt like looking at what I've picked for my TBR for this summer, I don't have enough steamy romance. Got a lot of murder and sort of more like literary stuff. I wanted to pick something that's like fun and steamy. And so this fits the bill. So this is number 2 in that companion series. I did enjoy the first one. I do want to keep going because the first one was that author's first book. And a lot of times if I read an author's first book, I want to read something else subsequent. I want to see like, okay, how are they progressing in their writing career? Like I'm just a nerd like that. So that is the book that I picked for that. Okay. So the last square on this row number 4, the last square on this row is my box is an occupation that you have had, that you have, or that you want to have. So again, kind of vague. So for this one, this is a book that I bought. I think I got it from like Book Outlet or something a long time ago. And this is not the type of book I usually read, but the reviews on Goodreads piqued my interest. And so this book is Adequate Yearly Progress by Roxana Eldon. Okay. And so this book is about teachers in Texas. So it's a fictional school in Texas, and it's centered around what's going on with the teachers. Adequate yearly progress is actually like a term that you hear in the education world. So I'm a little triggered, not gonna lie. Usually a book like this I wouldn't pick up and I wouldn't read, but I do want to pick this one up and read it because some of the reviews were like, this book was terrible. And then other reviews were like, I'm a teacher and oh my God, I feel like they were spying on me to write this book because some of these things are just so true and so like common among teacher lives. I don't normally read teachery books. I don't really like dark academia. I don't like things in schools because for the bulk of the year and for like during the weekday, for the bulk of my day, I'm in school. I'm being a teacher. Like I'm living that life. And so when I'm reading, I normally don't read things that are part of that life because yeah, I'm tired of it. Like I want to escape and read something else. And so normally I don't read things, but I had this on my shelf and it is a profession that I have. In fact, it's really close to my profession because I am a teacher in Texas. I think it's centered around high school teachers at that. So another, check in that box, like, yes, I do have that in common. And so, yeah, that's what I'm going to read on that because I can't imagine myself. I know as much as I complain and people complain about being in education, I can't imagine doing anything else. So I don't know, but I felt like it was time maybe to read it and see how I felt about it and then move on. But like I've said, I'm just repeating myself now in these TBR videos. There's a lot of other books that could fit in that square. So will I read it? Hopefully, if I don't get to it and I put another one on that square, we'll see. I will film at the end and show you guys what books I picked to fill which squares. But yeah, right now we're just setting the tone. So far, I'm reading them, but I haven't finished any, so that's good on that. So anyway, thanks for watching. This was fun. Like, again, I have one more video to do. There's one more row to do, so be on the lookout for that TBR video. And yeah, I guess I'll see you in the next one. Bye!